It is time to prepare to trade the best setups at the best prices. The stock market is setting up for a fairly predictable, lucrative day trading opportunity to be trading both ways. I'm going to be explaining to you on how I'm preparing to potentially be buying put options to make money as market drops and to buy call options to make money as the market starts to spike. I'm going to walk you through an in-depth price action analysis that I have for you on the SPY. Let's get straight into the analysis. So, in terms of the end of this video, I'm going to be going over the trades that we ended up making. I ended up going 2 for 3 on the day. The one loss that I have, making it a 66% win rate, was literally a 3-cent loss per contract. In terms of the 2 wins that I had combined, it was a net positive 46 cent per gain contract, which is a 15-to-1 risk to return ratio, cutting the loss very, very quickly and letting the wins run for a bit. I'm going to be going over the trades that I ended up making on the day. If you used last night's game plan, you could have potentially had a phenomenal green day. It was very, very clear to me that as the SPY was gapping up today, it was forming a very similar pattern that ended up occurring on Friday. And you guys are well aware, in terms of the overall game plan, the game plan was an overall bullish trend day. So on a bullish trend day, one of the best things you can do is to wait for the SPY to have a massive breakout above a resistance level, and then when it drops back down to that previous resistance level, break and retest, look for opportunities to buy calls if confirmation's there. You can also wait for key levels to be tested besides that overall strategy, the break and retest, the gap close reversal. So in this main particular situation, my main plays were using break and retest levels, and I'm going to explain to you how I use the break and retest levels with the confirmation on the 30-minute chart towards the end, teaching you this curriculum. And I also ended up using the gap close reversal trading strategy. But in terms of the market, as you can see right here on Friday, we gapped up, and then it was a gap and go. And then once it stopped going, it came back down to fill the gap. And then once it filled the gap, it had a reversal, right? So in terms of today, we had a gap up. There was a slight go in the pre-market, same way how there was a slight go in the pre-market. The main difference was we didn't have a gap and go at open, and then the SPY came straight back down to start to fill the gap. That was waiting to fill below. Once it filled the gap, it had a gap close reversal. So in terms of the main plays that I ended up making, I ended up buying calls on a break and retest. I noticed that there was key at the previous day highs, 600 and 1639 here towards previous day highs. We had a breakout, right? And then we retested during normal trading hours. And then in terms of the bullish pattern that I caught with this retest, and this was also key resistance in the pre-market where we had a breakout, right? So this was a very special level. This was a unique level because there was key support, right? Key support on the SPY that was not tested during normal trading hours right here. So it could potentially bounce. Key signal for reversal. And it was also aligned with a break and retest level of previous day highs, right? So I was looking at this unique trading opportunity, and I was studying how the SPY kept on forming support. It kept forming support at this break and retest level for hours. And I had noticed that there was a green, red, green bullish 30-minute candlestick confirmation pattern at this overall floor that was forming for 2 hours at the break and retest level, previous day highs, and at the key extended hours support that was not tested during the normal trading hours, which is a special key level where the SPY can potentially bounce first when tested. So after seeing that there was heavy confirmation at the break and retest level and the key support that was not tested during, that was tested first time during the normal trading hours, that formed during extended hours, right? And also seeing the floor was forming for hours, this is what caught my attention. This is a bullish pattern. Green, red, green is bullish. Next 30 minutes was bullish. I didn't catch it there. I decided to wait even longer. So, longer you wait, the more of a confirmation you can also have, the more the market reveals to you. And in terms of this overall trend, this was already bullish with a strong floor for hours. This was higher support. Take a look at this pattern. This is a very strong bullish overall pattern. You're going to see right here that the SPY was not only breaking out above this resistance right here on the 30-minute chart, but it was maintaining a higher floor. Look at where this 30-minute candlestick closed right here, and notice how this 30-minute candlestick is forming higher support above the previous 30-minute lows, and it's forming at the close, which is very, very special. And then this marks, if placed at a bullish overall reversal situation, this is what the pattern looks like. Green facing to the downside, red facing to the downside, right? If there's a floor at a key level to be buying calls, break and retest, key support that was not tested during normal trading hours, green, red, green, holding for hours, all bullishness. If you're seeing this pattern right here, green facing down, red facing down, next 30 minutes is going to be bullish, and SPY is going to try to retest the high of these wicks, right? So when this 30-minute candlestick closed red like this, that was my confirmation after all of that waiting at that break and retest level and key support that was not tested during the normal trading hours, finally tested, during the normal trading hours from that pre-market level to finally buy those calls. That's why this main trade, you're going to see right here, this was one of the main ones. I ended up buying 617 SPY calls at 66 cents a contract at 12:30 p.m. Notice how I bought those calls at 12:30 p.m., which means I bought those calls in a situation where a 30-minute candlestick just closed and a new one opened up. So it's in pure alignment with a 30-minute candlestick closing and a 30-minute candlestick opening, literally what I just explained to you on this overall trade. So I bought these calls on the opening of this bullish candlestick right here at 12:30 p.m. I bought at the exact opening when this was sitting at the lows, and then shortly enough, the strategy worked and it spiked towards the previous highs. If you use this information in curriculum, you're going to be printing money at the speed of light. So we had a member inside of Team Roar. He ended up taking the trade on 617 SPY calls, and he ended up making $10,800 profit on 617 SPY calls. These calls absolutely exploded. Just within 12 minutes, I ended up selling at 92 cents a contract. And then after that, I had 6117 calls at 60 cents a contract, and I ended up selling those at 80 cents a contract. So those were the main wins. And then I had this one trade before that where I got in a little bit earlier on calls, and I ended up selling for a 3-cent loss, held the loser. It was literally down a lot cent-wise at one point, but I held the loser and it turned into a massive win. And then all these trades went up massively if you left runners, right? So in terms of overall bullish situation, I already explained to you from the daily chart point of view on how today was supposed to be a bullish trend day, and then there was supposed to be a pullback, likely towards the close or potentially in the middle of the day. Pullback came during pre-market. This was the resistance, came back down to fill the gap, right? And then in terms of this situation, the main difference was pullback came during the middle of the day, and then it reversed at the gap. So very, very similar, very, very similar, reflection here. We had to move up, came back down to fill the gap, came back down to fill the gap. And then we had all of the bullish signals, all of this support, all this bullish signals. You could even see right here when this candlestick formed right here like this to the red, this candlestick formed like this to the red, market started to trend up sideways, and then we had the back-to-back gap close reversals on the SPY. On Friday, SPY had a gap close reversal right here. It filled the gap, started to reverse, and then today, SPY filled the gap along with the break and retest level right here, and then it started to reverse. So the SPY was having break and retest here, and the SPY was having break and retest here for reversals. I ended up catching that one as well. Like I said, got back in on 617 calls, played it twice, 1:26 p.m., 60 cents a contract, right? So if you go to 1:26 p.m., this 30-minute candlestick right here, into this 30-minute candlestick, literally as into this, and it had a very strong overall bullish move here, right? So those are the main plays, and I call it the gap close reversal. I recognize the pattern like I explained to you: red facing up, gap close reversal. Those are the trades that I overall did on the day. It was a phenomenal green day for me. In terms of G-Roar, it was not his best day. He ended up having a red day on the day, going 1 for 3. It's very, very rare that he has a red day, and it is what it is. But with that being said, in terms of the situation on the SPY here, this is what I want to bring awareness to in terms of the overall game plan. Heading into tomorrow is going to be very similar. So this is what I want you to be aware of. There's going to be an opportunity for puts. We're going to get into that first. Then we'll get into the opportunity for calls. So based off the situation, market's due for a small pullback. It looks like we're due for a small pullback, and we're also due for another opportunity on calls. So it looks like a situation where you can potentially trade both ways. Now I will say you should slow down just a little bit in terms of trading when we're at new all-time highs. When we're pushing for new all-time highs like this, raise your standards. Be more, observant, be more patient, and, just be more patient and observant. Don't trade as much. If anything, your trades should be, having the highest standards, and you should be more meticulous, waiting very, very patiently. Because I'm telling you, when we're pushing to all-time highs, especially, in terms of making a game plan a day before markets open, it's not as simple as it is. You really have to wait for things to play out. Wait for the market to reveal itself, then look for the opportunities. So as we keep on hitting these new all-time highs, I would encourage you to just ease the brakes a bit and wait. Just be very, very patient, be very, very present, and wait for the market to reveal itself and trade a bit less, right? Don't go rushing into something in a situation like this. So in terms of the trade for puts, this is what I would keep an eye on. Based off of what I'm seeing, so we closed at 617.85. Based off of the 10-day, 30-minute chart, also with the daily chart pattern, there's going to be an opportunity for a pullback. So the key is key resistance along with the most bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations, right? So you can look for like red, green, red. You can look for, just go back and study how the SPY has been topping, when it's been reversing, when it's been reacting bearish, when it's been selling off. Just look at the 10-day, 30-minute chart and just study how it reacts when it tops. If you're seeing a similar top, a similar reaction, then buy puts in terms of the situation. Now, in terms of the situation, these would be the main levels. Keep your eyes on towards 619 to 618, right around this zone. And if we're going under previous closing price and reacting bearish, then you're going to want to be buying puts in that particular situation. If we're dropping below 16,785, if we have a break below that, reacting bearish, staying in between that range of 16,785 to 617, you're going to want to try puts in that situation, right? So, heading into the morning, I would just patiently wait for an opportunity for put options if we're trading around that zone of like 618, right around there, and we're just reacting bearish. Look for a crack below support, look for a retest, look for the lower highs, and look for the red bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations. That's what I would look for. I would look for some sort of opportunities for put options. It could be towards previous closing price, 617.85, could also be towards 619. This candle right here is overall bearish, and the only thing that's really going to outweigh it to go from bearish to bullish is going to be like a nice gap up where it reacts to support. Market's saying that we're due for a slight drop and then a reversal. And if you're wondering like where this reversal can trigger and where I'm going to be looking to buy calls, and again, use very strong confirmations and be a bit patient in this situation because we are at all-time highs. So trade a little bit less and have your standards very, very high. In situations like this, I'm telling you, some people are going to get thrown off in situations like this, especially if we're trading more slow and more micro range at all-time highs. It could be fairly difficult in situations like this. That's why I'm saying to just really wait. I mean, if you look at today's price action, this was a fairly small range compared to what we were recently doing within the market. So, the play for calls is going to be the following. We still have these levels. So if you're looking for the easiest money, this is going to take time though. This is going to take some time. 611, looking for calls still. 612.30, looking for calls still. Break and retest zone, key support zone. Very special zone for calls. This level right here is very interesting as well. 1613.50, great level for calls. Now this level, this is very, very key as well. Keep an eye on the gap. This zone right here heading into tomorrow would be one of the best zones for call options if we drop this low. The previous closing price, the gap close reversal level, this we'll call it 615, and also 613.60 in between this zone. If we're reacting bullish around or in between that zone, that's going to be a play for calls. Now, this is going to be the higher level. Focus on this level. This is going to be very interesting. So, this level right here, market's going to try to bounce first. This is going to be our higher level for call options. It's going to be this 616.30. Very interested in this level. So, this was the previous day highs towards the 616.30. And then, we had all this key support right here. But also just study this. We had all this resistance right here. All of this resistance forming towards mid 616 to low 616. We had all of this resistance forming for hours. Then the SPY had its breakout and it hasn't retested that previous resistance during the normal trading hours once it reacted as a resistance here. So market's going to try to attempt to bounce in between 616.40 to 616.80. That's the higher call zone. Focus on that 616.40 to 616 lower zone. That's your lower highest zone for call options heading into tomorrow, right? So just understand, we're due for a drop first, then we're due for some sort of spike. In terms of the drop zone is 619. to 600 and 619 to 600 and mid 17, right around there. And then the first high buy zone is like, you could say low to mid 616. And then from there, we got the 615, we got the 1350 range. And then from there, we got the 61230 to 611 range, right? That's the game plan heading into tomorrow. Now, the only thing in terms of break of trend, if we're gapping up, reacting very bullish, going above 619, one thing you could do is if market's having a massive move above that, you can wait for a break and retest, and you could look for calls at break and retest levels towards 616 to 617. Only if market's having a major breakout above 619, massive gap up, right? If it's having a massive gap up above 619, it really shifts that overall trend. And basically what's going to try to happen is it is going to try to continue. At some point it's going to drop, and then when it drops, it's going to try to bottom at a slightly higher range that I gave you. So instead of like mid 16 for the first bottom, likely towards 617 to 618. Most likely outcome is we kind of stay around this range we're in. We drop first around that range, and then we bottom. Then we have the first spike towards that lower range right here of this like mid 616 level to low 616. And then more levels, 615, another great buying opportunity, 613.50, another great buying opportunity. And then, the levels below that, other great buying opportunities, right? Most likely outcome is we kind of stay in a small range. It's likely going to be more of a smaller range. Like today was more of a smaller range day, right? So be very, very meticulous, be very, very precise, and do not go making a lot of trades. Heading into tomorrow, if you're looking for the big moves, the big winners, it's going to be more of those days where there's going to be like, 1 to 2 opportunities, maybe 3 at the most. It's going to be a slower day like today, likely. Now, eventually, but not right away, this is how I see it. Eventually, within some time, not too far away, and I'll keep you updated on this, but this is not the end. We will go above 619. Bulls will maintain and control. We're due for a small pullback, and then we have that small pullback. The most likely outcome is we close in the middle. We close in the middle of the day. So if the day's range was like 618 mid to 616 to 615, if that was the day's range, we close in the middle, right? So you could look at this as the potential close as the middle. And again, the main thing that's going to break this trend and this information that I'm saying is if we just had a massive move or a massive gap up above 619. But even if that occurs, we're still likely for a drop. So basically the most likely outcome is we have a drop, stay in the range, and then we start to reverse towards the levels that I gave you, right? All the bounce zones, reversals trigger, right? It's not going to hit all the bounce zones, but when they're tested, likely going to bounce first, right? And then the close is a middle close, not a super strong bullish close, not a super strong bearish close. That's how I see this. And within time, not right away, I don't see it like this as of now, but again, things change and we adapt accordingly. But as of now, in terms of how I see this, within time, we will be going above 619 and holding it. It's one thing to go above a level, but if it just quickly fades, then it quickly fades. But within time, this is not the end. We will continue to push higher. Market is still overall considered bullish. We're due for a small drop. We're due for a small range day. And then we're due for a small recovery where we kind of close in the middle. That's the most likely outcome. That's what I'm seeing. So that's how, that's in terms of the night's analysis. I mean, you guys are well aware in terms of, Team Roar. When we're trading in real time, we adapt accordingly. Things can change and stuff like that. But in terms of the night before, this is what I'm currently seeing, and this is the current game plan. And those were the trades that I ended up making. We had some people absolutely crush it on calls, and then some people had a red day. Like I said, in terms of G-Roar's trades, it was a red day. This is the first red day he's had in a very, very long time, and it happens. People have red days at times, and there's finally a red day. But losing still remains a personal choice. There was many wins within the chat. And we're going to finish this week very, very strong within the green. And that's what matters, how you finish the week, how you finish the overall month, what you carry into that, not just necessarily the single day, but the results into the week, into the month, into the long term, how you carry, how you learn and grow from what you've experienced and what has happened. So, with that being said, it's the first thing down below in the description. If you would like to join us and trade alongside us, you gain access to real-time zero-day options trading alert system. You gain access to the Team Roar chat. You gain access to our secure private network, our secure organization. We trade cheap, low risk, far out of the money zero-day options on SPY and SPX. And we're known for selling these contracts deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. We're known for buying them very, very cheap, low risk, far out of money option prices. And I'm telling you, we have systems that fucking worked. We have systems that fucking work. And we print money non-fucking stop at the speed of fucking light. Very secured private organization. If you're serious about trading alongside us, it's the first link down below within the description. And you gain access to our system. You gain access to our network. You gain access, to the trades. Like I said, very, very cheap, low risk trades. And you could put in your max risk into these trades, right? So you put in your max risk per trade into the trades. The most you're willing to risk on a trade, your R multiple. If it expires worthless and goes to zero, the most you lose is what you put into the contract. 1 R multiple. Could be 1% of your account, could be a couple percentage of your account, right? Obviously, the less percentage it can be, the bigger the cushion you have, right? But it's very, very cheap, very, very low risk. And you're going to see it's the biggest percentage gains within the market. And you're going to see that far out of the money zero-day options give you the most options within the market to trade, to create systems with real money. So you could trade alongside us and you can grow and you can get access to the best trades within the market and trade alongside, us and gain access to best real-time zero-day options trade alert system within the overall market. And you're going to see it's unlimited fucking winning and it's unlimited fucking printing non-fucking stop. And in terms of the system, just to give you more background on, the system that we trade, like I said, the asset class is far out of the money zero-day option contracts, cheap, low risk, max risk per trade is what we put into the trade. That's the most we're willing to risk. And, on winners, we set profit stops. So on winners, we set profit stops when we're up on a trade, like 10% plus, we set a profit stop to ensure that we don't go green to red on the trade. And also on winners, we add to winners to double and triple the gains. If you add to a winner and set a profit stop, it's going to be impossible for you to go green to red. You'll get stopped out for profit. If you move your profit stop up higher, then if the market has a big fluctuation against your trade, you get profit stopped out at where you moved your profit stop to. Not exactly where the market goes to within that time. You get profit stopped out as soon as your profit stop is hit, right? So it prevents you from going green to red and also prevents you from giving back a lot of gains. And adding to winners doubles to triples the gains in a safe way because you're setting profit stops. We rarely add to losers. And, in terms of losses, we tend to just let them expire worthless and go to zero for the vast majority of the time. Because 7 out of 10 times when we are down on a trade that's down over 50%, we call that a dead play, it comes back to life and it goes in the money. So when you trade alongside us, and when you trade far out of the money zero-day options, one thing you will learn and experience within this market is you're going to be able to see through every fucking illusion within the market. And when you start seeing through illusions, it also carries, within your life and you start seeing through everything. So, like I said, man, it's the first link down below in the description if you want to trade alongside us. And I'm telling you, you're going to see that what you can do and create with options, the systems you can create, it gives you the most options within the market to trade however you want it to trade. So, like in terms of my style of trading today, the wins were smaller. And in terms of the wins being smaller, part of that was a reflection of the market's price action. Market was fairly choppy. The moves were fairly smaller. And if you wanted massive wins, you really had to have that perfect timing and let it run, which was not easy on a day like this where there was no big fucking moves. And then all of a fucking sudden, we have some massive moves. And again, during the power hour trading session. Power hour tends to be the absolute best time to be trading, especially zero-day options throughout the day. When they're getting ready to expire worthless, it has the biggest percentage gains. If you can buy the contracts that can go deep in the money, right? And you're going to see that one of the illusions with options is that you need a high win rate to be successful. We're the absolute best at our craft. So that's just what comes with being us. But we don't need it. We don't need a high win rate. Having a high win rate within this market is an illusion. So in terms of like today, some people might say a 67% win rate is very, very low. I mean, that's literally what my win rate is. And if I held this loss, it would have been a massive fucking win. I literally had only one loss on the day. It was on this trade right here, 618 calls at 68 cents. I bought these at 68 cents. It went to, as the market was dropping, they went nearly worthless. They were worth practically nothing. So I held it, and then when it came back to life, what I did was I ended up exiting. One of the reasons why I ended up exiting that is because it made sense, because I had 2 nice wins before that, and I was holding a loser. So it makes sense to just kind of cut the play in that situation. Now, does that have anything to do with the trade in terms of direction stuff? No, absolutely not. But in terms of like overall trading and putting money into the trades, it just made sense for me to get out because I just had 2 nice wins and now I'm holding this loss. So if I let it go back down to a bigger loss, then it's going to give back, a nice portion of the overall gains, right? And I didn't want to put myself in that position. So I wanted to stay overall green and clean in that particular situation. And just also in terms of responding to the market accordingly, I wasn't really expecting the most massive move and they already came back to life. So it just made sense to get out with not much time being on the fucking clock. But this trade I got in at 68 cents. It went down nearly to worthless. It was down percentage-wise a fuck ton, like over 60 or 70% plus. And then it came back to life and I got out at 65 cents. So I lost 3 cents per contract, right? And then in terms of the wins, 617 calls, I got in at 66 cents. I sold them 12 minutes later at 92 cents, right? Again, part of that, in terms of just getting out very, very quickly, the choppiness and the time of day we were trading at, and also just new all-time highs. That's another thing, man. New all-time highs is going to throw people off within this market, especially if you're trying to aim for massive fucking wins. If you're looking for some massive fucking wins, power hour is the main play and you don't have to hold a long time, right? So you got to be able to adjust and to flow within the market accordingly. And that requires some sort of balance, some sort of balance. So in terms of my approach today, it was more of a balanced overall approach where I got decent wins, but I'm not looking to hold longer, right? And I cut my loss accordingly instead of trying to aim for that win. Some people psychologically in that situation would have said, I don't want a loss, I'm going to hold the trade. But them not wanting that loss could have turned them into a situation where now they're green to red on the day because they let a dead play literally come back to life and then they let it go straight back to dead after they already made some nice gains on the day. That's why I'm saying this whole illusion of the win rate, it just doesn't fucking matter. If people look at a trade, it's like, oh no, I have to go green on this. It's like, that's not the key to this. That's going to set people back if they don't see through this. So this trade, 66 cents, sold at 92 cents, right? Phenomenal trade. And, this trade sold at 80 cents, the same strike, 617 calls, sold at 80 cents. It was in at 60 cents, right? So the point is, that's a 15-1 risk to reward. I cut my loss very, very quickly. And if I would have held that loss even longer, it would have been a massive fucking win because 618 calls literally went $1.22 in the fucking money. So, like I said, man, it is what it is. There's absolutely no regrets for not, holding longer and letting that go green to red. I mean, if you have a trading journal and you trade options and you looked at your fucking win rate, you'd realize like, wow, this whole win rate thing, it's an absolute illusion. It does not fucking matter at fucking all when you're trading far the money zero-to-8 options. I'm telling you, the biggest game changer to trading is trading 0 to 8 far the money options. They give you unlimited options. They give you all the options to create whatever it is that you want to fucking create within the market. So like in terms of like what the fuck I created today, I cut a loss small and I had 2 smaller wins. Normally we win a lot bigger than that. And it shows you that with a 66% win rate, it's like the loss didn't even fucking happen. It's like there was no fucking loss. Oh, we lost 3 cents a contract. Well, what did we make on other contracts? Oh, we made 20 cents on that one contract. And then another contract, we made 24, 26 cents, whatever the fuck, right? So it's like, it just doesn't fucking matter depending on how you look at that, right? So, if you want to trade alongside us, is the first thing down below in the description. And I'm telling you, you're going to start winning and you're going to start learning and growing a lot. And I'm telling you, like, when you're creating systems within the market, you see through everything. You see through all the fucking illusions. You see through everything. And there's a lot of systems that you can make. With options, you can make situations where you lose small and you win slightly bigger. And that works for some people. Or you can make situations where this is what we tend to focus on. We focus on more bigger, massive wins and just letting our losses expire worthless and goes to zero. Normally we just let our trades expire worthless and goes to zero because, like I said, we focus on trading the trend, and 7 out of 10 times that dead play comes back to life. So like even on this trade that was down over 70 fucking percent, I still would have been, even on this trade that was down over 70% in this situation, it came back to life. It came back to life from absolutely nothing straight back to life, and it went deep in the fucking money. So, it really goes to show you that the losses do tend to come back to life. Like I said, it's very, very rare that G-Roar has a red day. This was one of those days where it was a red day in that situation, but it wasn't like some sort of massive crazy red day. It was 1 for 3. 1 for 3 isn't bad on a red day. That's not, it's not, it rarely happens in 1 for 3. It's not like it's fucking 1 for fucking 20. So like I said, it is what it is. So for those of you who are serious about trading alongside us, gaining experience in far out of the money 0-day option contracts, I'm telling you, you're going to learn and grow a lot within this group. And we have hundreds of traders who've been with us for years now, who've still been subscribed to this, to our overall community, our network. And I'm telling you, they're consistently making $500 a day. Some are making $1,000 a day. Some, we have multimillionaires here. Some are making tens of thousands a week. If you join our group, you're going to trade alongside us. You're going to experience a real-time 0-day options trade alert system. You're going to experience a network where you're going to be literally, trading alongside multimillionaires. And you're going to see we have the best options trades within the market, and we have the best systems within the market that revolve around far out of the money 0-day options. And options give you options, but far out of the money 0-day options give you the most options within this market to be profitable in a way that's very, very low risk, where you don't need to use stop losses. You set profit stops, you add to winners, let the winners run, let the losses come back to life. There's no need to really sell a loss because it's going to come back to life 7 out of 10 times. Why would you want to sell for loss and try to, be right in those sense and try to cut those losses 3 times in a sense when those 7 other ones are going to come back to life? And when they come back to life, sometimes it's going to be multiple 100% profit returns. So suppose you cut that. You just missed out on a multiple 100% profit return. The win rate does not matter. One of the biggest illusions inside of trading in the options world is the win rate. It does not fucking matter. There's people who have systems where all they do is aim for big wins, just 1,000% wins, and their win rate is literally 20 to 30%, as low as that, and they're profitable. And that's all they fucking do, right? I'm just saying with us, we do every fucking thing and it fucking works. We don't just do that. We have all the fucking systems and we print non-fucking stop. It's unlimited fucking winning and unlimited fucking printing. We have all the money making systems within far the money 0-day options. And you're going to see we have a very high win rate as well. Is the highest win rate you're going to experience. Trading alongside us, when you're joining the secured private network or community, you're going to see we have the best trades. We have the highest win rate. It's absolutely undeniable if you're in the group and you experience this. So it's the first link down below in the description if you would like to trade alongside us and join our group. And you're going to see we're very, very dedicated to our craft, and we're all focused on trading options, on trading far the money 0-day options. We trade SPY and SPX. We trade SPY every single day. We trade SPX nearly every single day. For SPX, we're focused on 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you guys been looking at the market, I'm telling you, like literally power hours, the best time to trade past 3 p.m., especially that 3:30 p.m. mark. And during that time, if you trade SPX when it's low risk at like 70 cents, 50 cents a contract, you can make 300 to 500 a contract realistically. And on bigger moves, there's times where you can make 1,000 to 2,000 a contract, right? We recently had a trade on SPX calls. G-Roar's trade went from 70 cents to 14.40, and we sold at 5.90. This is why, if you look, even though G-Roar ended up having a 1 for 3 on the day, 1 win, 2 losses, if you just go back to the day before, it still outweighs the fucking losses. If you have a 600% profit return, you can have 5 100% losers after that and still be net profitable up with the proper risk management, right? This is the beauty of big percentage gains. Like, you have to understand, you have to remember on Friday, remember what was there on Friday. So again, I'm reflecting this back to you as well so you understand. 6160 SPX calls, 70 cents a contract, and these went to 14.40. Now, if you left a runner, you could have got out at 14.40. You could have made $1,440 contract on a $70 contract. We ended up selling that at $590 a contract, right? So that one trade is like 700% plus. And then after that, if you have 2 losses, minus 200%, you're still up net positive 500%. And then we also had 1 win, and then we also had my wins on top of that as well, right? So you have to understand that this continues. System never fucking stops. This all continues. The wins always outweigh the losses. we're always net positive in the end. And we keep on fucking going because losing is a personal fucking choice. All the massive fucking wins on Friday, 6-1, 12 SPY puts, right? So look at our best days and then look at our off days. In terms of the off days, that could be a red day, which is something we rarely have, or that can just be a day where we had some losses, had some wins, and it was a smaller day, right? Or it could just be a small win day. And I'm telling you, on our big green days, it's a fucking mountain. You understand? It's so fucking, on our biggest green days, it's like 2,000 to 5,000% gains on 7 to 15 trades. It's fucking remarkable. And then on our worst days, it could potentially be a red day, a couple 100% losses, right? So if you do the fucking math and you keep on fucking trading, it's unlimited fucking winning and unlimited fucking printing. So I want to be very, very clear about that because our best days and days like that happen like twice a week, where if you take all of our fucking trades, it adds up to over 2,000 to 5,000% in between that range on our absolute best days. And we get like at least 2 of those per week with all the trades combined. You know, it's the percentage gains are able to be so big, not just because we're winning big, but because we trade a fucking lot. Sometimes there's a lot of fucking trades, like 8 to 15 trades. In terms of G-Roar, in terms of my trades, I trade less. I make like 2 to 3 trades a day max. Typically my trades are mainly educational focused. But you're gonna see, man, the winning days always outweigh no matter how many fucking losing days. Like I said, if you have a 600% win, you can have 5 100% losses, 1 100% loss each fucking day for the next 5 days. You're still green with 1 green day and 5 red days. So you have to be able to see through all of the fucking illusions within this. I've seen traders in here be green with 1 green day and 10 red day. And I've also seen traders in here be red with 10 green days and 1 red day because they had no fucking risk management. That's fucking why. That's the fucking difference. So we have a system. The system fucking works. Team Roar is fucking massive. It's unlimited fucking winning, unlimited fucking printing. If you'd like to gain experience, trade alongside us, try out the format, it's the first thing down below in the description. I'm telling you, you're really going to see and find out if trading is for you. This is really going to test you. It's going to help you grow as well because it's a real fucking group. This is real people trading, making money, printing at the speed of fucking light, nonstop, every single day, breaking through all of the fucking illusions within this market, showing you how you can be successful with low win rates, how you can be successful with 1 green day and 9 fucking red days, cutting through every fucking illusion, how you can be successful. Like I say, 3-cent loss, we cut the loss quickly. Normally don't do that, but in terms of today, it made sense, cut the loss quickly. Two wins that weren't like super massive, but decent wins. I mean, they were fucking massive compared to the fucking loss. Oh, win rate doesn't fucking matter. 66% win rate. Well, the cent gain per contract was so much fucking bigger, 15-to-1 ratio. So, like I said, man, this is going to teach you a lot about options, and it's going to cut through all the illusions in the market, and you're going to be able to create systems within the market through options. And you learn all that, and it carries, not just in the options world, it can carry through your life. I'm telling you, trading is life in a way, and that carries with you. What you learn in the stock market, you can carry that with you outside of the stock market and into your life. So, if you're interested, in gaining this experience, learning, growing, awakening, making money, I'm telling you, a lot of people's lives have transformed inside of here. And I'm telling you, we can help within that situation. We've helped transform people, and I'm telling you, I've seen many people, man, awaken, transform, change. Like I'm telling you, you trade alongside our group, you're gonna be leveling up, and you'll find out within time as well if trading's for you or not, because it's not for everyone, and you can always come back. So it's the first thing down below within the description if you would like to trade alongside us. With that being said, I'm gonna be heading back to the chat.